tendering and procurement processes. First of all, I'm pleased to stand here presenting CCED. And can you hear me now? I'll be presenting basically about the tendering processes, presenting CCED. Yeah. So, can you hear me now? Is this clear? All right. So thank you. I think more or less it's the same processes. We're just following the same processes, maybe tweaking here and there. So I will be taking you through who CCED, number one, and the tendering processes, and also the mandatory requirements which built in CCED, as well the minimum requirements which we would love to see that all the contractor suppliers, which I wouldn't love to say contractor suppliers, because I see like with our partners, we're all going towards one goal. Yeah, and then common issues which we would like to address it here in the tables as well, to make sure that we overcome those areas, and to share our success stories which were implemented sometimes last year and this year as well. Yeah. So CCED is a consolidated contracting in energy development, basically oil and gas operators. We have 4 concessions, 3 and 4 which is currently under operation, and 2 which is under exploration, which is 37 and 84. Yeah. So 38 and 74. Those are under explorations, and hopefully we'll start soon producing. Yeah. And standing here with, and I'm proud to say that we have achieved 93% in terms of organization. It illustrates the commitments towards the local workforce. Yeah, and our mission is to deliver safety, acts of operational excellence, and local developments. So, just to give you a brief on what sister here, Afra, have spoke about tendering. The tendering, I'll just make it quicker and brief. We have 2 stages, mainly 2 stages. The question is just to make sure that we have transparency and fairness. Yeah, so we start again when we go to the ITT, we issue an RFQ out into the market to all qualified or registered JSRS bidders. And then once we receive your bids, we go through the technical evaluations. The technical evaluation goes to the technical team, does the technical evaluation to ensure that you are compliant and aligned with our expectations. Once that is concluded and we have identified who are qualified bidders, then we move on to the next stage, which is the commercial evaluation. So the number 1 is we look at the technical, is the technical qualified, and then we move on to the commercial. I wanted to emphasize that we're not driven by the value, we're driven by the quality. So we look at the qualities, are you qualified, and then we move on and we look at the commercial, and then we become the winner in our tenders. So I wanted to highlight one thing here. Part of this process as the mandatory. The mandatory is we are mandated on, we are going through that to make sure that the KS are registered, and also ensure that registration are aligned. Sometimes you find our suppliers who are registered in JSRS, but with the time you are continuing updating it, your commercial registration. Your commercial registration might sometimes you add an activities for, let's say, valves, let's say transformers, but have you go back to the JSRS to ensure that categories are also included there. So that is the tips which you need to make sure that you are having those categories are added into JSRS in order to receive our tender. So those are the submission requirements I wanted to emphasize. I won't go into details, but this is the minimum requirements. When you go into the technical requirements, we expect at least to acknowledge participation, exactly what you stated, and then you submit part of your technical bids, and we have also the VDRL, which is sort of a mandatory requirements which you need to make sure that you are compliant with, you tick all the boxes which align with the requirements. And also that if you have any deviation or exceptions to our terms and conditions, to our technical requirements, that's the list which you need to emphasize, and you need to ensure that it's addressed to the team so they look at it in technical. And then once that is done, then we move to the stage 2, which is the commercial. So if you look at how extensive the technical, that is the key which we're looking at, and then the commercial comes next stage. I wanted to highlight these common issues. I mean, for me, sometimes I feel like you're missing opportunities. So it's good to bring it to the tables and also to remind ourselves. Misalignment. Misalignment, which I say here, because sometimes we receive a calls from the contractors or suppliers that we have not received the bids. But when we dig deeper, we realize that they are not registered in that specific categories. So I would emphasize it's not a matter of unregistered in JSRS. No, are you registered in the right categories? Are you expanding your categories? So that's number one. Including the commercial, as also we all in the same boat. With, yeah. In terms of the submissions here, we wanted to emphasize that the technical and commercials, you need to make sure that you separate them because the technical has to have purely technical, no commercial. If you add any commercial figures there, it might lead to disqualifying. So we are binding with the two stages. We expect all the bidders to separate the technical and commercial submissions. Also, part of so you don't miss the participation in our tenders, that you need to make sure that you have a valid JSRS, because sometimes we come across where we do the technical evaluations, we're about to award, we realize the bidder maybe the JSRS has expired or maybe it's not valid. So I think I would emphasize it's good to be proactive, ensuring that your JSRS registration is done well in advance. The failure to meet our minimum submission, this is part of the technical evaluations or technical requirements. We normally state it all our part of our tenders, what are the minimum requirements. So it is part of your submissions. Just go through the tender documents, and if you have any questions, we have also sort of technical clarifications, TQs. Please, you're free to raise all your clarification questions before your submission. So at least you make sure that you have met all the minimum requirements. In terms of the common issues, I think one of the areas which we believe that we would like to address it and also to ensure that we also comply to it. It's unfulfilled delivery commitments. The delivery sometimes is the key or the drive for our project to success. And that also add value to your organizations where we can see, yes, this is reliable suppliers, we can rely on the critical projects. So that's one of the areas I wanted to highlight. And last but not least, I think I wanted to share with you the success stories. I mean, let's admit, no organization is perfect. And I must admit also, we are going through that transition of improving and trying to meet the pillars which are going to fulfill the requirements from both sides. So you get, for instance, the feedback from CCEDs, dialogue communications, areas where we can improve as well. I mean, so those are the positive transformation which we've started. I mean, this year, I must admit, we will just launch the new ERP Oracle Cloud. So that's more or less we'll have sort of a two-way dialogues to ensure that we have transparency, fairness, and you can get your feedback on the system platform directly. If it's the piece is awarded or the piece is still under technical evaluation, commercial evaluation, so we'll have that one. Another thing which is that I wanted to highlight is country for region. Country for region part of our tenders. Now we expect all bidders to start right in the country for region. Why is that? So we can support our country, looking at giving the priorities to the local products, number one. Number two is not only RCV. It's another thing is just to make sure that we are not putting ourselves into risks. I mean, we have seen recently numbers of unstable countries. Like the last time it happens in Pakistan and India and Iran and Bahrain, do we really want to go and procure something which we are not certain is it going to reach us, yes or no? So I think those will give us sort of indications. Are we ready to wait? Are we ready to put ourselves into that risk? So that's one. So I would encourage everyone to just make sure that in new tenders, make sure that you are adding country for region. Also, last year we introduced the approved manufacturer list to ensure that we are dealing with the reliable manufacturers. I know we have a plenty of manufacturers, you name it, everywhere, everyone can do that. But are they the reliables? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. So we have introduced last year, and And I know everyone will have a question, how can I have my manufacturing included in that manufacturing? That's why I pointed out in the last point, that is, we have introduced also the qualification processes where you can bring on the table all your manufacturers to CCEDs and be welcome to look into it. We have engineering teams, including supply chains. We evaluate and make sure that, yes, we have pre-qualified and evaluated your factories or your materials, and is it in line with our requirements. So that's it from my side. And I want to just want to close out with a quote. No matter how good you get, yeah, you can always get better. That's the exciting part. So I'm strongly believing in continuous improvement. It's not that it's not that only we can next year or next time we meet and we have at least tick some boxes and we all with the smiley faces. Yeah, that's it from my side. And please, if you have any question, any clarifications, I'll be more than happy to answer. Is it? Yeah. Question or letter? All right. Thank you.